Robots have had a special place in humanity's imagination for a long time now. Since even before the Industrial Revolution, we have imagined ways that technology could be used to build a utopia for us, where humans are liberated from the need for menial labor. On the other side, like with all major technological revolutions, many have been reasonably less enthusiastic by the development of the humanoid robot. Where some see the potential for a utopia, others just as easily see the potential for a dystopia. While it was once simply a feature of science fiction, the humanoid robot is now a tangible reality, and we are going to see them enter the workforce in mass very soon. Today we're going to break down the history of humanoid robots and where the future lies for Tesla's humanoid robot project, Optimus. So let's get into it, and a special thanks to today's sponsor, Conflict of Nations. Conflict of Nations is a military-themed strategy game set in the late 20th and early 21st century. It's an exciting real-time combat system, placing players in control of a nation and pitting them against other gamers in a struggle for world domination. The beautiful isometric world map depicts over 100 existing countries ready for the taking, and a refined player alliance system allows cooperative games and clan challenges. Units are moved across the map in real time, allowing for a deep level of strategic planning and tactical execution. A game round usually takes weeks to complete. I love that a huge part of this game is researching items while building the required infrastructure to achieve your objectives. Try Conflict of Nations for free on PC, iOS, or mobile by clicking the link in the description below. Choose your country and fight your way to victory. If you sign up now, you'll receive a unique starter pack only available for the next 30 days. People have been captivated by the idea of the humanoid robot, artificial mirrors of our own form, for centuries longer than we've even had the word robot. In the Iliad, Homer wrote about golden servants created by the gods to speak and work on their behalf. Leonardo da Vinci made prototypes and plans for a mechanical knight that could be operated by a series of pulleys and levers. As more advances in industrial society were made, our imaginations were pushed even further when thinking about potential humanoid robots. In film, the android from Fritz Lang's 1927 silent film Metropolis is perhaps one of the most lasting and influential visions of the human robot. Her timeless design was actually a key influence on the look of one of fiction's other most enduring humanoid robots, C-3PO. There have been countless other examples of these robots in fiction all throughout the 20th century. Isaac Asimov wrote extensively about the proliferation of human-like machines in his long-running Robot series, which originated the now famous 3 laws of robotics. These were aspirational laws meant to dictate the behavior of robots so that their usage would not cause harm to humans or humanity at large. Other visions of humanoid robots have been less optimistic. The Terminator franchise comes to mind, where humanity has been nearly destroyed by a race of humanoid robots run by a super intelligent AI system. A piece of background to the Dune franchise is that humanity now lives in a world without computers and robots because centuries before they had fought against and destroyed the machines that had ruled their lives. As much as humanity has always seen the potential benefits of robotics, we have also been keenly aware of the limits that we have to place on them for the sake of our safety and well-being. These types of machines, while interesting to think and read about, always seemed like they were a long ways off. With the advances in computers, microprocessors, and mechanical engineering, these robots are now seemingly stepping off the page and screen and into reality. Honda made history back in 2000 when they unveiled the first generation of Oimo, a bipedal robot that could recognize multiple moving objects, determine the distance and direction of the objects, interpret voice commands and human gestures, like a wave or handshake, and autonomously navigate. They did a lot of fun demonstrations with Oimo that showed everyone that these machines could genuinely work in the modern world, although it was still very limited in many ways. Boston Dynamics shook the world when they unveiled their first-generation Atlas robot. It had remarkable balance and dexterity even in the earliest prototypes, with it able to balance on one foot and resist being knocked over by heavy weights. Over the next decade, Boston Dynamics released a ton of demos of Atlas that showed just how insane their technology had become. It could do parkour, navigate rough terrain, balance itself after being hit, and do a number of other amazing things that would have seemed impossible only a short time before. From the outside, Atlas looked like the pinnacle of humanoid robotics for a while, but in recent years we have seen an absolutely unparalleled explosion in this field. Within just the last few years, we have seen countless companies announce and show off their own robots, and each brings something unique to the table. Figure Robotics is a newcomer to the industry, but they have made a big splash thanks to the integration of OpenAI software into their Figure 01 unit. Incorporating AI technology into this machine has already created really fascinating results. This demo shows a person interacting with the robot using natural language to give commands, and the robot is able to comprehend and execute on them. Combined with its advanced form factor and dexterity, this could represent a huge step forward in humanoid robotics for both personal and commercial use cases. AI integration into robots would allow for these machines to learn and perform much more complex tasks on the fly by taking plain language commands from the humans in charge. Amazon already has nearly 750,000 robots working in their fulfillment centers around the world, but a lot of them are simpler autonomous machines, like flat-wheeled robots designed to move large racks and boxes around. Within the last year, Amazon announced a deeper partnership with Agility Robotics to integrate their Digit robots into their warehouses. Digit is unique from other robots in that while it does fit a humanoid form factor in the broad strokes, it's different in a few key ways. While humans have built the world around us to fit our bodies, there are other form factors that could prove more efficient for certain tasks. For example, the Digit robot has backwards-facing leg joints that allow it to crouch closer to the ground and keep a closer proximity to shelving. These Digit robots can be easily slotted in to do simple and repetitive tasks in their existing warehouses and be able to do the same jobs that a human could, but perhaps even more efficiently. Even Boston Dynamics has revealed their latest version of their Atlas robot, and it has made a pretty big evolution since its already impressive previous iteration. The old Atlas HD used a series of hydraulic motors in its joints, and while those are very impressive, they do have limitations. As we saw in some of their bloopers, they were known to occasionally burst or leak when put under pressure. This new Atlas, on the other hand, is built entirely using electric motors and servos, which give it an unparalleled level of flexibility. As we can see in their announcement video, those motors allow it to move and contort itself in ways that a human never could. So while it is still largely based on the human form factor, its enhanced strength and flexibility will allow it to do even more in the future. While there are undoubtedly tons of other robotic startups out there, one of the most impressive new entrants into the field was a bit of a surprise to many. Back in 2021, Tesla announced that they would be developing their own humanoid robot, and in Elon style, they announced it by having a person in a skin-tight suit do a dance on stage. At first, this seemed more like a joke than a concrete plan, but they explained how this bot would develop and then promised a functioning prototype by the following year. Tesla did make good on that promise, having quickly developed a very rudimentary prototype that could slowly walk and do simple tasks, as well as another model that had to be wheeled out on stage. Although this prototype was very simplistic, it showed how quickly they were able to get a functioning model working. Behind the scenes, Tesla continued working on both the hardware and software that powered the robot that would become known as Optimus. We got to see a lot of Optimus walking around the factory, balancing on one foot, and sorting objects using its onboard visual sensors. Since then, Tesla has shown an even more impressive second-generation Optimus prototype with a more refined appearance, finer motor controls, and greater body control. Within less than 3 years, Tesla went from a person dancing on stage in a skin suit to a fully featured robot that seems to be improving exponentially at this point. So what is it that makes the Tesla bot different than its competition and predecessors? For several years now, Tesla has been trying to position themselves as more than just a car company, but rather a general tech and AI company. Optimus operates using the same cameras and processors that Tesla also uses to power full self-driving in their cars. Tesla has been collecting lots of real-world data for full self-driving, so now they want to apply that same approach to the real world with a humanoid form factor. The data they collect there is processed through the AI system in their end-to-end neural networks. Unlike many previous robots, Optimus doesn't need to be extensively pre-programmed to perform every single action. Using elaborate motion capture systems, Tesla is capturing tons of data on how certain tasks are performed that can then be ingested into their neural network to, quote, teach Optimus how to do those tasks. As Optimus collects more data, both from copying humans and physically performing the tasks, then it gets better at actually executing them. In this video, we even see Optimus autonomously assess and recover from an error made while sorting these battery cells into a tray. Once it recognizes that the cell didn't fit in properly, it stops and fixes it, just like how a human would. Making these advanced humanoid robots powered by AI would make the work being done by Tesla absolutely invaluable to the market. Elon Musk has particularly talked about how eventually humanoid robotics will grow to become a much bigger business than even their car manufacturing. Introducing these kinds of robots into the world would fundamentally transform our relationship with work, and naturally, the company that cracks that secret could become more valuable than what most would comprehend. During their most recent shareholder meeting, Elon went into great detail about the ways that he sees this technology advancing, and what that would mean for the value of the company. Now, of course, Elon's predictions are often very optimistic, so it's best to take this with a grain of salt and know that he was kind of saying this on the spot. But this is how he sees things going for them. To start with, Elon begins the segment on Optimus by expressing his profound optimism for what humanoid robots can do. Some days sooner than we might think, he expects that these machines will be able to handle pretty much any task, from factory work all the way down to babysitting. He expects the demand for these machines will be so great that every person on Earth will want to have one. At some point, he expects that the ratio of robots to humans will likely reach 2 to 1, and that humanoid robots will have a population of up to 10 to 20 billion. Given the potential demand for these machines, Elon estimates that at some point, the market will eventually grow to produce around 1 billion humanoid robots per year. If Tesla were to capture just 10% of that market share, that would equate to 100 million units in production per year, the same number of cars that the entire auto industry produces in an entire year right now. Once production is fully ramped up to scale, Elon estimates that eventually these robots will be able to be produced for just $10,000 per unit. He expects that they will go on sale for $20,000, which, assuming 100 million unit production numbers, would lead to $1 trillion in profit for Tesla every year just from humanoid robotics. With that in mind, he estimates that Tesla's market cap will increase by an estimated $25 trillion on top of an additional $5 to $7 trillion from their autonomous driving technology. That would make Tesla worth approximately 10 times more than the current most valuable company in the world, Nvidia, at a bit over $3 trillion. Tesla is already starting to test how well these robots can be slotted into their production pipelines. Elon announced that the company has already put 2 Optimus robots to work inside their Fremont factory, taking finished battery cells off of the production line and placing them into crates. It's not the most involved task in the world, but over time, they will eventually be able to handle much more complex and essential tasks. Elon then said that Optimus would be receiving a major hardware revision sometime either late this year or early next year that will bring a lot of improvement to its functionality. For example, Optimus's hand will be upgraded from having 11 degrees of freedom all the way up to 22, which will make it dexterous enough to supposedly play the piano. That level of fine motor control, among other key upgrades, will be essential for when Tesla begins a true pilot program for integrating these robots into their factories. They estimate that by sometime next year, they should have around 1,000 robots working across the entire company. From there, we can expect the technology powering these robots, and therefore their role within the company, to grow extremely rapidly. Their level of autonomy will continue to advance, and they will start handling more tasks that are currently done by humans. This past week, in fact, Elon teased what many are referring to as Optimus 2.0. He said, quote, "The new Optimus design, which will be complete later this year, is something special." From the outside, Optimus already looks pretty great, but of course what we are really excited to see is when Optimus blends incredible functionality, autonomy, and a great design. This is most likely what's in store for this next version. Some slight changes we can appreciate on the exterior, but more important upgrades to things like hands and the ability to complete useful tasks. Soon, relatively, we may reach a point where these Tesla bots can perform pretty much any task that they are presented with. They predict that Optimus will soon be able to effectively take over any task after just watching a live demonstration, and someday maybe even after watching a video of it. When you take that into account, it makes Tesla's prediction that there will be more robots than humans make a lot of sense. Humanoid robots would, in theory, eventually be able to take over pretty much any physical work that currently requires a human, and that will profoundly reshape the economy. That's the long-term vision, but in the, again, relative short term, everything that Tesla does to vertically integrate helps the other parts of their business. With Optimus, this could mean that it helps drive down the cost of manufacturing their current EVs. For most people, the biggest barrier to buying a Tesla, or any EV for that matter, is cost. There are incentives and tax credits and gas savings, but still the cheapest Tesla today is just under $40,000. In the future, a simpler version of current EVs may be a big part of bringing down cost, but part of what helps bring down cost is manufacturing. Optimus could further optimize processes and help bring down cost in some major ways, especially replacing humans where jobs are dangerous, boring, or repetitive. Of course, that leads to a much larger discussion about labor and what an economy looks like when these jobs get replaced, but that's for another video. What Tesla is always eyeing is how they can bring down cost, and Optimus could end up being a big piece of what drives their future growth by sales of that robot, as well as helping make all of their products more attainable for the average consumer. So on its surface, Optimus may not seem like it aligns with Tesla's mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, but it could be something that helps bring down cost, which accelerates that even further. As it stands right now, Tesla is probably one of the companies best postured to truly lead the way towards a robotics revolution. During the presentation, Elon spoke a bit about the swaths of robotics startups out there and why they will have trouble in the long term. What Tesla discovered during the design of Optimus was that there was no real infrastructure to supply the special components that they needed. So much of the pieces that make up Optimus had to be completely designed from scratch to meet their needs, so they couldn't rely on off-the-shelf components. Tesla has a huge pre-existing team of engineers that understand how to design components that not only work well, but that can eventually be scaled. Tesla also regularly talks about how difficult manufacturing is in itself, and that would be a piece that separates them from others who can make a great prototype. Then, once you have the robot's body, you have to then consider the software and computers that power it. To run a machine like Optimus, and it truly have all of the features that Tesla has promised, then you need to have an industry-leading AI system running behind the scenes. In 2024 alone, Tesla is planning to spend $10 billion on training and upgrading their AI systems. Very few companies, especially startups, have the ability to spend that kind of money on building systems like this. Even then, among those who have that ability, it will take them some time to reach the level that Tesla is currently operating at, and they will probably not be able to catch up to Tesla's head start. On top of the AI system itself, you need an energy-efficient computer module in every bot that can actually run it. Tesla has a lot of experience making systems like these, since they have been doing it for years with their FSD computers that they install into every one of their vehicles. The synergy between the development of FSD and Optimus has allowed for those projects to both advance very rapidly together. Then, if you have managed to handle all of those problems, there is still one major issue for most startups: mass production. Being able to produce these humanoid robots at scale is what will allow them to reach those price goals that Tesla is aiming for. Even if you are a smaller startup that is able to make one really great prototype, making more of it is going to be a really huge endeavor, and the end product will naturally be very expensive. As a major auto manufacturer, Tesla has the benefit of years of experience in producing complicated machinery at a very large scale. Eventually, they will even be able to use robots to handle the production of future robots, so the line will gradually become more efficient over time. If any company has the potential to bring these kind of humanoid robots to market soon, then it seems to be Tesla. While this is very exciting, Tesla recognizes that the path toward building a humanoid robot that is ready for mass production will still require a ton of work. With that being said, these robots are still coming much sooner than many have recognized. Like I mentioned earlier, Tesla is currently planning on at least 1,000 robots to be used in their factories by sometime next year. Of course, it's reasonable that we take Elon's estimates with a large pinch of salt, but even if it takes them longer, that's still extremely impressive. With each new update from Optimus and competing humanoid robots, it is becoming increasingly easy to imagine a future world where robots have become a major portion of the world's workforce. To try Conflict of Nations, a free online PvP strategy game, remember to click the link in the description below. Choose your own strategy, engage in epic battles, and take over the world. If you sign up now, you'll get an exclusive gift, 13,000 gold, and a 1-month premium subscription for free. This offer is only available for 30 days, so sign up now. That's all for today on Optimus, but if you are interested in hearing what else Elon talked about during Tesla's recent Investor Day, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.